Well, hello everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good wherever in the world you are. Welcome to Aquarius Rising Africa. And as promised, I have back with me Mr. Tom Althouse. You're looking super sassy, Tom. How are you?
Thank you. I feel Sicily. Thank you.
Awesome. You should be,
Yeah,
indeed.
yeah.
How's it been going? How's the week been?
Oh, fantastic. I have been working it straight out around the clock because it's just all the top issues are now coming back to creative work that was rendered. And it's like I am calling news agencies on the carpet. I am calling other agencies on the carpet. I am not going to hold back. I think the best thing is swift and clear, concise. Don't let people hide under a rock or agencies hide under a rock. Everybody's responsible now to bring everything into clearing. Let's examine things in the meadow and get things out. It's time to change the world. So that's how I feel, and I am gunning on it.
Absolutely. Well, I think we really have reached that point, and I want to just say hello to all you beautiful people in the chat. Tom, you might want to. Can you see the chat from where you are,
I
or do
see
you
an
get
empty
distracted?
chat. Do I push comments? Is that what I do? Yeah,
Yeah,
there
you
you
go
go.
on to
Hey,
comments.
hi
So
guys.
there's Lisa,
Yeah.
Leila, Becky, Peg. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Nice to see you. Yeah, as I said, we have Tom back in the house. As we will now from every Tuesday.
Yay.
Same time. Looking forward to that. We've got lots of amazing stuff in the pipeline. So watch this space. Tom, we got a super awesome topic tonight. And I thought it was like, if you're looking
Oh,
at the
yeah.
title, Warner Brothers, or is that Sisters?
Yeah. My goodness. Boy, they
And
screw
the
up.
whole transgenderism thing and how it relates to them. I would love for us to discuss that because as you say, with all these things coming to the fore right now, yeah,
Yeah,
let's see.
absolutely. Yeah, the first thing I'd like to share too, Shanti, is that to anyone out there, any youth, anyone that's involved in the transgender cycle and things like this, that our heart goes out to you, our compassion goes out to you, and I feel it deeply. I think you can see it. Regardless of what side you're on it, or what position or stage you're in on this kind of stuff, we feel for you. There's an agenda behind it, and that has not been made aware generally. And I know where that agenda comes from, and I know where they even lifted it from my own screenplay and turned it around. And I want to share at this some point in our discussion today, Shanti, for people that where the actual page was, that they, as they lifted everything they thought was cool from the Matrix story, the original screenplay, where transgender and genderless people come from. And I want to actually read it to you. What was intended to help youth was turned around to cage youth. And so whatever stage, there's so many emotions enough with young people they go through, pre-adolescent, adolescent. That is a tough time. And when you're going through it and being pushed into these kind of things, it's kind of like, my take is they push to alter the body of an individual, the person, young person, and then they just leave them hanging as if they're a checkoff list as a point. And I think really there needs to be a real push to help take care of children where they are allowed to express and feel whatever they feel. And there's no condemnation, no timelines, and enough with the clinical psychiatric stuff to program and push them into a certain way. Let them speak and let us learn how they feel, rather than prescribing what they should be feeling and doing and healing. So it's like, really, each person's different. Each person goes through a different journey, and my heart goes out to each person that's been subjected to this thing, which now Warner Brothers is accusing me of beginning. When I read the page 94 of the Immortals, you'll see the one that precedes the Matrix, 1998 version, 1999 shot. You'll see what my intention was when it was in the story about genderless people.
I would love to hear that, and I'm sure we would definitely, the viewers would also love to hear that. It's very, very interesting. But
Go ahead.
it's kind of common knowledge. Well, I don't know how common it is amongst everyone, but I've known for quite a while that Wachowski brothers or Warner Brothers, right, these big movie people, are in fact females, right? They actually were born female and transgendered to men,
Oh,
or
Now, see, that's
What
what
is
they're doing.
that story?
Confusing people. They are born dudes. They're guys. All right. And when you see the actual pictures of Larry and Andy, I mean, I'm sure they wanted to change into something, but it's like, I will have to try to search for their picture, but it's like, they were guys and they were being punished for having taken my personal entries and placing them inside the matrix in the first graphic, in the first scene shot. So that meant that they had a price to pay. They went against Warner Brothers by sneaking in my high school, my birthday, my fiance's birthday, my dad's name, everything in the first graphic, right? Central West High, Batika Ball's birthday, March 11th is Neo's birthday, my birthday above it, my dad's name, and more. They had to pay a price for that. So Warner Brothers saddled them with another agenda. You have to represent the transgender agenda, which was to disrupt society and also prey upon our children. But that was also intended to go along with the idea they had two agendas: transgender, genderless people in the future, and I'll explain why, and also to put in the idea that everyone is evil. Now, transgender doesn't mean evil. They had two separate agendas. So it meant they wanted to teach us that all of us are out for ourselves, and therefore doing crimes. Warner Brothers staff and executives, like the one that just left when they struck my website, were trying to say, well, everybody's dark, everybody's evil. In fact, Jerry Falwell, when he was caught, right, with his pants down, he said, well, I'm actually one of the good ones because I was caught. The real bad ones are the ones that aren't caught yet, that pretend to be good because everyone's evil, basically, is what he's saying. See the twitch?
Yeah.
So what they're doing is trying to say that everyone's dark. And if you're caught doing evil things with kids and things like this, well, then you're just easier to catch because you're more genuine than the people that aren't caught yet. Wow. So, yeah. And so this whole thing came out where the Wachowskis were supposed to be the poster kids, or not poster kids, they're old guys, poster guys of the transgender movement. And that's where it gets wild. So Andy was even asked when he did actually just slapped a dress on and a wig. Yeah, any woman can see he wasn't trying to really be a woman. He was just trying to do what Warner Brothers did to the minimum requirements, right? Like slough it off. He was asked, you must be happy now, right? You must be happy now that he goes, not really, no. He's not. And there's still guys. I have a friend named Felina Barris who works on does the red carpet, makes jewelry for the stars, dear friend of mine from Maui. In fact, they modeled the character Brave after her in that cartoon, the Disney cartoon, Brave, with the red hair, because she has the big red hair. Beautiful girl. She was hit on in the bathroom by Larry Wachowski at an event at a gala. So what you have is he's married to his dominatrix, Larry Wachowski, who claims he wrote the Matrix, and who stuck all my stuff in the first graphic. He also has a dating site, and that's one of my team members found this amazing thing. Steve Giselle found this amazing entry. I sent you an email. I get choked up on where Larry Wachowski, here, the poster person for the transgender movement, claiming to be a woman, right? On his dating site, he lists himself as a man.
Wow.
That means the whole
married
of the movement.
Doesn't he have a wife though? Isn't he married to someone? Karen Winslow or something like that.
He's married to his dominatrix. Excuse me for choking. Married to his dominatrix, who she said that she wouldn't date clients, his whipping person. But since he wrote the Matrix, which he didn't, she married him. So his marriage is a lie, based on a lie. He's cheating on her by doing a website, dating site, which tells you about the darkness of Warner Bros. And the rest that they attract. They were brought in to be claimants for the work in-house. That's why they were brought in as failed writers, B players. So here we have Larry hitting on friends of mine in the bathroom, in the women's room, because he's transgender. He can go in a woman's room. And then he hits on them? There's a problem there, right? And our poor youth that are subject to that kind of thing. And so what happened, like women in the locker room with this guy who's a swimmer, 6'4", Leah Thompson, a man.
Leah Thomas, yes.
6'4" at Penn University. He's a man, and he's got his genitalia, and he's there in front of the girls, and they are told what? They are told, Sky News released this clip, where the girls were told they have to, it's non-negotiable, quote, non-negotiable, that they have to undress in front of this man. And then they said, well, we'll provide psych services for you so you can learn to undress in front of this man. What the hell's going on? So look what's happening. And one of these women that was testifying had been assaulted at age 16. Here she is in college having to dress in front and told she has to. And she's the problem, that she's not dressing in front of this man. See how it leads to pedophilia? That's part of the agenda.
Absolutely.
That's part
because
of
it's becoming, it's becoming normalized now. And, when we're looking at just from, I look at my generation, right? Mm-hmm. We were pretty innocent when it came to anything like this, right? And over the years, it's just got progressively more and more put in your face, right? So, and it's true what you say, a lot of these kids are actually pushed into this lifestyle. They're pushed into these. If you're looking at our Charlize Theron, the big Hollywood star now, adopted a little black boy, 10, he's 10 now, I think, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. From South Africa. And at the age of 3, he says to apparently, I'm a girl. And the next thing, he's now fully fledged girl. He's walking around in pink with hair braids and a dress. He's a full-on girl. So this is becoming more and more of the norm. And it's true, because when we're seeing what's happening all over, right, with this whole sexualization of our kids in school classrooms and these transvestites going there doing these hectic shows for them, they are imprinting in kids' brains at a very, very young age that this is normal, right, that this is the new normal. Right. And it suddenly hit us out of nowhere. No, I can't say that. It's been coming for a long time. We have not stopped it. And the only people that can stop this stuff is us. So that's really where we're at right now. What are you saying about the situation? And like you're saying, because on Wikipedia, quite frankly, and I wanted to actually read this as well when I sent to you, Karen Winslow's wife, Lana Wachowski, biography. Lana was born as Larry Wachowski on 21 June 1965 in Chicago, Illinois. The daughter of Ron Wachowski, a businessman of Polish ancestry, and his wife, Lynn. Lana is the third oldest in a family of 4 children, and she has 2 older sisters, Julie and Laura. So, and again, Lana Wachowski, formerly known as Larry Wachowski. So, this stuff is, the information is out there. They're putting it out there, yet somehow they still manage to delude, or people aren't asking questions. It's like, I think we've been so, we kind of like been, over the past few years, we've had to accept things. I have no problem accepting people and who they are and what they want to do, etc., etc. We've over time become a lot more open-minded. But at what point does one's mind remain open to be okay with whatever is going on? Yes, I do believe each person has free will. And at what point does one see that as an absolute invasion or an intrusion, right, of someone else's rights? Where is that line? And according to what you know, and I want to ask you more about what when you say they took the when you were talking about genderless children, they turned that around and turned this into this whole transgenderism thing. So what is the fine line?
Well, here we go. They actually showed a clip where they asked the Department of Health in this whole panel, what define a woman? What is a woman? What is a man? They couldn't answer. They just sat there. They didn't want to answer. We've gotten to the point in our society now where it is taken over by the government, where they're saying, the guys won't even answer. They won't even answer.
Yeah, and they can't.
Yeah, and youth are being used for many things right now. I just want to tell you why I'm coughing. The reason I'm choking right now is because there's a project agencies are using and people don't know about yet. So I'm very sick right now. And the reason I'm sick right now is what we call the Oliver Project. and I want to release this to people. I've never talked about it before, but I want you to know the agencies are doing what's called an Oliver project. Remember the musical Oliver, when the boy says, "Please, sir, may I have some more"? Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. What they're doing is they're taking Mexican boys, right? And that's why in Cry of Freedom, you have it focused on the Mexican kid. At one point, it keeps talking about the Mexican kid. Agencies don't want me talking about this. This could be a cut feed any moment. So what happened was a couple days ago, a young Mexican boy came up and bumped into me from behind on my leg. What they're doing, and then I realized I felt a pinprick. And when I looked down, I can see it on my leg, on my thigh, there is a circle of pricks, points, actually bled, where they can inject you on the hit and run like a pickpocket from Oliver. That's why they call it the Oliver Project. So now I'm very sick right now with a choking. You know how I keep choking? The upper respiratory, everything else. They're delivering that certain manufactured thing. I'm not going to say it. With little boys that deliver. That will allow families from Mexico to get their green cards through the agencies. Let that sink in. Project Oliver. Very clever. So I got hit on a hit and run by a little Mexican boy. Keep in mind that they use them because it's the green card trick. And what's going on is my son Aiden was nearly drowned by a little Mexican boy that was brought in at the Camp Wailea on Maui. He was attacked and choked by a young Mexican boy that was brought in to the junior high, elementary school, on the soccer field. And the boy was brought in for 3 days and then removed quietly. The principal was in on this, right? And then again, there was something else with the Mexican boy. So the first thing it goes is your respiratory, upper respiratory. So I feel like I got fluid in my lungs. I've got the choking and things like that. This is weaponized using kids, not only in transgender, but using them to do agency hits. Can you believe that? So now we have a way of targeting individuals, such as myself, right in time for the major interviews I've lined up. I've got the proof on my leg, and they come up and they just watch for this now. And what are you going to do about it? You can't take on a kid. So up they come from behind, bump you. You feel the needles, the pins, like it's down below, hits you, and they take off. The next thing, you got this swelling in that one locality. It feels like a fever in your leg. It feels like, and then suddenly you got the upper respiratory. I'm telling you, there's a whole new way to deliver precise hits that the agencies are using. And that's happening right now.
I agree. I agree with you on that. You know, many of our survivors that we've spoken to, especially the ones that were in the military, obviously weaponized like that. And Fiona Barnett, I don't know if you guys are aware of Fiona Barnett. She's probably the top whistleblower from Australia and has been blowing the whistle for over a decade, and of course has gotten herself into some serious trouble, talking and that sort of thing. But I did an interview with her actually, and it was the last interview she did. So she hasn't done any after that. And it's actually on the channel, so if you guys want to catch it. But very, very interesting. And what she was saying as well is that that's exactly what they do with kids, is no one expects a cute little kid coming there with a handgun or with something. And the same thing with Lera Nikolaev, right? She's the Russian, she was trained by the Russians to be a child soldier, double agent by the Russians. And she talks about exactly the same thing. The kids are said.
It's horrendous. You know, it's horrendous. But go and finish and I'll throw in.
But I'm interested, Tom, in what you're saying, because why the Mexicans? Why what's the connection?
Green card families. They get a green card. The honeypot wife, Rebecca Northcutt, that was assigned to me by Mike Lang at Disney, and the attorney who threw our case with the unlicensed and ineligible to practice law status, was her landlord with a criminal record. She had a criminal record, prostitution, and been in jail, brought to me as if she's some kind of nun out of Modesto, California. So they are brought in, and what I found out afterwards was Rebecca Northcutt's family was not legitimate citizens of the U.S., so they were getting their green cards afterwards. And they even said, well, you know, give her, rather not. She was doing it, you know, we have this now. So they are, after the job's done, these families then are immigrated officially. Isn't that something? So that's why Mexican kids, it's not any kind of demographic that's different than the rest of us. It's bad.
Okay.
It's that they are brought in because they have a need. There's a need, want to be in the U.S. sometimes for the Mexican population. And so for Mexico, so they, this is a inn that agencies recruit and look for people that might want to do it. And then their kid just has to do the job, just like Rebecca Northcutt had to be the wife. That's why she never talks to Aiden. You know, Aiden was a byproduct of the job. And the last thing they did was erase her criminal record and all the warrants removed after she had done her job. And Mike Lang takes her back on my birthday. This is what's happening. So think of how simplistic this is, the logic behind it. And they like to be clever. Think how it's a tongue-in-cheek thing. The Oliver Project. Please, sir, may I have some more? May I have some more rewards for my family? All you have to do. Now think of Game of Thrones. In Game of Thrones, people realize in Game of Thrones, it's all there. The guy who has the mockingbird, and the spider, they call him, the other guy. They're using kids, and they give them candy and these rewards in order to do these hits and murders and stuff. That's real. It's in Game of Thrones because it's real. And think of this, just how simply that you need a 12-year-old, 13-year-old boy. And that even happened at Camp Grande, at the Grand Wailea on Wailea, Maui. Aiden was being choked and beat up by this kid that was 13 years old at Camp Grande. And the administration allowed that because they figured I'd lost my case was thrown and they wanted me out. So they attacked Aiden. They allowed this 13-year-old Mexican boy to come at Aiden there. So that's why they're using that demographic, which is a shame that it gives you their viewpoint that they think that Mexicans are what, born criminals or something. But no, they're not.
Yeah, desperate. Will do anything. So, yeah.
Kids are exploited, used for whatever purpose they need. But I'm glad we're doing the interview. But I want to point out that if you see a child, if you are releasing stuff like I'm releasing right now about the FBI, I'm releasing about Brian Fitzpatrick, the FBI, and how he was involved in Victor Shocum's removal, which they're going to impeach Biden over. That's hot. That's big. And I'm releasing it to Sky Australia, Federalist, everything, and on air. So that's why I was hit, because I'm releasing that. They get you while you're doing it. And so that's why the FBI is doing this. But the thing is that we're going to reveal in the process these operations, and I'm going to keep talking about it. They're not going to stop me. I'm going to keep revealing it. And they're saying they can't touch me or finish me off because I'm too public. So because I've been vocal about it, they know that the public would say, well, Tom was knocked off because he was talking about these things. At the same time, they try to twist it around and say he should be put away because he's talking about these things. Can't have it both ways, guys. So these agencies are trying to put you away by saying, oh, he's crazy for talking about this. But at the same time, they're trying to knock you off because you're talking about this. Well, I'm going to keep talking about it. So if you want, I'll go right now to the script page if you want to have it read.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay.
Go for it.
Here's the original screenplay. This is the 19th. Again, I'm going to cap it so it's made sure it's clear. They scrutinize everything I say, I'm told. So 1998 version used on 99, on set 99. Let's go to page 94. Keep in mind, every image they thought was cool was lifted, put into a visual storyboard, and they made it up as they went along, right? So anything they didn't use, they went into animatrix and shorts to use, quote, use up the rest of the story, as Joel Silver said. Now, Joel Silver lifts images from this piece and gives them to the director of Ghost in the Shell. In 1994, he gives it to him. After he enters my work in the database, Teresa Wayne says, from Warner Brothers, database of the story department of Warner Brothers. So I submit in 1993, he enters it in 1994, and then he gives Ghost in the Shell, the director of Ghost in the Shell, to do these graphics. He didn't even write a piece on it. He just did diagrams and graphics of genderless people, Jacks the Neck, and everything else in order to be a plausible source material to steal the work. So page 94, let me read you where the transgender issue begins here, and they lift it, right? Where they actually bring it to the forefront. So you have the name Jim Reese, which is Neo, model after myself. As a young writer, writing after myself in order to create and flesh out a character. Jim Reese is now the lead character on Amazon's Terminal List, which was a #1 program. So they brought out that, mocking the original author by putting the actual name of Neo in as Terminal List, which means Terminal List, you're on a terminal list, which I heard that from Robertson Script and everything else. So isn't that wild? Here's what Jim says. He said, Jim draws the curtain. He sees Latte noticing the picture of Julia in his hand. In my situation, writing, our main character, the Neo character, has 3 love interests throughout the play. That's why they named Trinity Trinity. That's a joke. Every Easter egg's here. So they took the 3 love interests and just called her Trinity. Make sense? Just another joke
Wow.
putting in besides my birthday and everything else. Yeah, it all can be debunked. That's why when you see these programs about, we're going to give you the reveal and decode the matrix, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. We have all the Easter eggs. We know what it's all there, including that first graphic with my high school birthday, dad's name, fiance's birthday, my marital status, capital city, all that there, and TA 49 on a column. So everything's in the first graphic, and then the clock thing again, just for those that have not seen it, on the clock, my exact birthday, 7/2/59, by the Wachowskis, courtesy them. All right. So knowing all that, there's a no-brainer, yeah. And the only reason they could throw the case is they had the unlicensed attorney who was the landlord of the honeypot wife who worked for Warner Brothers to throw the case by running out the statutes. And then when he's fired, allowing the Warner Brothers, he says, on a phone call to proceed to summary judgment without objection, which means no evidence is going to go in. Everything I showed you won't go in. That's how you throw a case. All right. So here's what it says. Page 94. Jim draws the curtains. He sees Latte noticing the picture of Julia in his hand. He went to Latte, a person who's aging outside the program because he's cut from the program and needs to hide out with somebody. He goes to somebody he'd seen before. Jim says, she died many years ago. Latte says, she's beautiful. Jim says, Latte, if you will have me, I never want to go. A tear forms on Lorraine's cheek as she smiles. She turns away from him. This original Matrix. Latte, I won't blame you if you do. My classmates and I kept being raped. We made sure it could never happen again. Latte lifts her skirt and turns to Jim, showing a massive scar tissue between her legs. Latte, this is why we're left alone now. Jim holds her. Jim, I would like to stay. Latte begins to cry. I'm still affected. Jim kisses her softly. Latte pulls away. Latte, don't let me do this to you. Jim embraces Latte gently and brushes the hair from her eyes. There are many ways to show affection. This scene about the suffering of youth and what's going to happen in the future, where they may have to revert to being genderless to survive, horrors, was taken by the Wachowskis and Warner Brothers and turned into the transgender movement by Joel Silver, taking that scene and giving it to the Ghost in the Shell director in Japan in 1994 to do diagrams of genderless people to start heading Warner Bros. Agenda of genderless females. So there you go. They're destroying womanhood and women and their sanctity and their sovereignty for an agenda. One of the reasons, and here's the scary part, one of the scary parts of all this. Why is Warner Brothers doing this along with Disney? Along with Disney. Let it sink in. Disney was the main culprit in the ripoff using Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Why they do this? Because the elite have a plan. If you've ever seen Handmaid's Tale, follow it. The elite have a plan that the beautiful young women will be with the elite only, and outside that program, there'll be a mess of humanity, scarred, tainted, disturbed. And if you're with the elite, you can be with a beautiful woman, a beautiful, functioning, beautiful, vibrant, thinking woman. If you're outside their circle, damaged. That is the plan. Like the Handmaid's Tale, and there's more. The women inside with the elite can have children. Outside the program, they want to reduce the population, so you'll do it for them. But that's the That's the transgender movement. That's why it's being forced on our children. My sister is part of that. They said one of the biggest culprits in this movement is the counselors, the school counselors, who are allowed to push it in many places without telling the parents, so this agenda by the elite can be accomplished. The Handmaid's Tale. Think of the value of the women in the future that are inside that circle. They can have the children, the others can't.
I mean, this definitely sounds to me as well like when we're looking at the Illuminati, the Cabal, they have their 300 families, bloodline families that they pretty much marry into, right? So they've kept that, yes. So they don't, I'm sure they probably don't want all lockjaw or something, because if they didn't do that, they'd all get whatever this joys or from inbreeding. So they have to do that. But what you're saying now, wow, that actually makes the most perfect sense, because they will then keep the elite or their chosen bloodlines,
Mhm.
their chosen families producing normally, right?
Mhm.
Because, yeah, and then what they'll do is they'll literally turn the rest of us into transgendered
Confused. Yeah.
hybrids, because that's really what it is. They're turning us into hybrids, and where we can't really procreate, or and I'm well right now. Say, if you're a woman transgendering to a man, you can still have a baby. Yes, I get that. But I think at some point in time, that'll all change, because they really are screwing with our DNA as well, right?
That's
When we're
right.
looking at the jabs and things we're getting, and
Mhm.
the stuff that's being put in our food, the chemtrails that are being left, the poisons in our food, they really are, from what I'm seeing, and I mean, I'm definitely one of the people that has a very positive outlook on these things. I will seldom look, but if I'm looking at this situation, that it's not even a conspiracy theory. We
No.
just have to step back and look to see what is already going on. Do you know that? I mean, I don't know if you guys actually saw, I did that drop in with Ara on Friday, Ouija Barbie, this whole Barbie movie. What they're doing is they again, this is kid grooming, right? They are the part of the story is that Barbie and the owner or whatever go through portals. So they're teaching kids that to go through portals is normal, right? And when you go there, you can change things, right? To make it better or worse. And if you, the whole thing is about, again, transgenderism and what have you. But
Mhm.
then also what they're doing is they then, have you seen they've actually launched a Barbie Ouija board, right?
Mm. Mm.
So, and a Ken Ouija board. So my point is we've got to look at these things, and all the actors, the main actress for Barbie is a transgender male. So already it's this whole, it's this whole transgenderism thing.
Right.
And I'm fully supportive that we accept everyone for who
Sure.
they want to be. I
Right.
have no problem. We've said it before. Thailand has got a big ladyboy community, right? But I mean, when we're looking at Thailand, although, can you believe it, in Thailand, prostitution is illegal, right? Can you believe it? It is. Yet that's why everyone goes there. And you look, a lot of the men, and this is a genuine fact. I've lived there and I've spoken to a lot of the ladyboys at the time I was there. I'm very fascinated. So they generally have male genitalia, right? But they are very beautiful looking women. Wow. These ladyboys are absolutely gorgeous. But yet they look like a woman and they have the sex drive of a man. So they've got, and that's why they're going, a lot of straight men, right, are going for the lady boys. It's like, I don't understand where that fits in. I'm not saying that's part of the agenda at
Mm.
all, but I'm saying that, and especially, I mean, you speak to, there's the Blair White Project, who's born biological male, now female, awesome woman. I really enjoy her. But she's quite open about the fact that she still has her male genitalia, and all the guys she dates are straight. They're married
Mhm.
or they're straight. So there's something about that as well in terms of the sexuality, with this whole transgender movement as well, that is there. And it obviously, we understand it's all about sex, right? But as you say, it's not, it's like your script was about healing that, changing that, really going to drastic measures to stop the perversion. But really, what they've done is they've taken it, they've flipped it around, and actually made it even more depraved.
Yeah, mine was a warning about what would happen in the future.
Yeah,
They took it and used it and twisted it. It was a warning about what our children could be youth could be subject to in order to have to survive. And so, I mean, if there's communities that do this boy stuff, like you said, they've been there. That's fine. I don't want children being coerced and pushed in these programs where they really don't have a choice yet. They're being influenced by those they're supposed to trust, counselors, doctors, social scenes, where what would you do if you were in that situation? And it's like, that shouldn't be happening. You shouldn't pressure a child to have to make this life-altering decision with their bodies. I mean, if we say that you can't date somebody till they're 18, why are we allowing a child to change their sex before that, right?
Yeah.
And if it's pedophilia to assault someone who's under 18, why are we allowing a child to be exposed to sexual alteration before that? I mean, what, you're going to protect the child but not protect the child? It's like, they can't get it back.
Exactly. If we're looking at what we're seeing right now, as you say, there's nothing supportive or nurturing about this agenda. I mean, I think I mentioned on one of the other shows, I saw a video of a woman who's 34 or something. I can't remember, but in her late 20s, early 30s, who wanted to have her tubes tied. Doctor wouldn't do it in case she changed her mind. Yet this is what they're doing to children. So it just shows you, these aren't doctors, these are activists. These aren't nurses or whatever. I'm sorry, they are all activists and they are being paid. There's no ways I can accept that is okay. And
there's also, there's a hate being inserted also. There's a Huff article that I was made aware of where they mention me directly. They say Tom Althouse, who, fringe thinks, says he wrote The Matrix, blah, 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 in this Huff article where they're talking about transgender. So they're already preempting and coming out and tying me to transgender issues before I had even said anything, right? So they do these preemptive strikes. And what's interesting is, in that article, they celebrate this transgender girl saying how her how you view it, biologically a boy, saying how her boyfriend was beating up this other guy and beat him up real bad, and how they loved that and loved how the look on his face when they beat up the other person. This hate agenda they're transferring along with that. And again, they're very telling when they put you, like my name specifically, full name, and what I do in a Huff article where it's about transgender. They're afraid of you bringing forward the truth about where it came from. So they cued me by putting me in that article without telling me or contacting me or getting my viewpoint. So,
but you know what? Sorry, carry on.
Go ahead. Done.
No, carry on.
No, good. Go. Fire.
No, sorry. I just wanted to go back to what we were saying also about this whole grooming, and we're looking at the Barbie transgenderism right now with all of this going on, right? They also very much, although in real life what we're seeing right now, there's an absolute attack on the female in terms of having these men wearing a dress that can now come into our changing rooms with
and your sports,
purple hair and orange lipstick with a beard. Looking hideous as all hell. Gosh, if that's what their opinion of women is, it's really not very pretty. I got to tell you that much. Anyway, so we're looking. I don't even know what I wanted to say now. I've completely lost my train of thought. What was I even saying?
Well, I mean, you tipped me right to the 6'4" swimmer who was ranked 500th. And all of a sudden, Thompson, whatever, is winning first in the women. I mean, if you've got 6'4" reach, you're probably going to beat with the build of a man. You're going to beat the women out. That's not sexist. That's just the fact of physical development. So cowardly. I say cowardly. And then getting to change in front of the women. So, but
What I wanted to say was, was that even though there is that huge attack on femininity in our spaces right now, when we're looking at this Barbie movie, there's a huge attack on the patriarchy. So over there, it's like all the boys get kicked out and women don't need to have babies and women don't need men and, all of that stuff. So it makes me wonder. It's like, what is really what are they trying to show us? Because
the agenda is to create what I said. The elite have viable women, beautiful women. They've always had this weird fantasy. It's like Dr. Strangelove of having the beautiful women. They talk about it to me when they pull out the chair and make the offers. You'll have, but they say the Wachowskis, you'll have beautiful women to the Wachowskis when Dina Laurentiis wine and dine them at dinner, promising them money, fame, and beautiful women, beautiful starlets. So they think that beautiful women are a commodity, not a person, not people, a commodity to be tossed around at these parties and things like this, and that the elite will hold the beautiful women, and the other outside their circles will not have beautiful women. That's what it's about. And what I want to address too is that how we help our children is this: we do not do a tug of war with them, pulling them with agendas. We do not do a tug of war with them saying, come to our side and prove us right. What we got to do is each individual child is a separate story, a separate heart, a separate need. And we've got to be open to them when they're ready, not preach at them, not condemn them, not tell them what they should be thinking or what feeling. We're going to be listeners to what they feel, what they've gone through. We're going to listen to their story, each of them. We're not going to put them away as a check mark on an agenda list. We're going to hear each one of their stories when they're ready to talk. So get rid of these psych counselors that are screwing everything up and pushing agendas also. Get rid of this cause, and let's just be ready to hug the children again. Each one that's ready to come forward and say, I want to hear your story. I want to listen to what you have to say. I want to hear what you have to feel, and you have every right to feel what you feel. And not condemn them, not push them, not tug them, not pull them, not preach at them, because they're on a journey, and we should celebrate their journey. If someone is transgender as a child, if we can celebrate that they are a life, a journey, that they are that spark, that they are that shining light, and if they come out of it, we hug them and say, well done. If they make a life as transgender and they have to go through with it, we hug them and say, well done, because you're alive and you're vibrant and you're beautiful and you have a choice. That's what we have to do. We have to start taking it off the agenda, chessboard, game board platform, and actually be here for these kids because they're kids. So let's treat them as kids, and let's take the enemy's weapon away of turning them into pawns, and let these kids know that they have value. Whatever choice they've made, they have value. And whatever decision they mean to make to change their course, they have value. We celebrate them every step of their journey. We celebrate them that they're alive. And we're grateful for that. One of the main things the other side uses is this. They say to parents to make it stick, do you want a dead daughter or a transgender son? That is bull. That is bull, and all the other phrases that attach to that bull.
Yeah, I agree.
What's going on is that is a lie. The one girl testified in front of the panel that she wasn't suicidal before she was transgendered, but they were saying that was the cause why she should have a transgender situation. Operation. Now she has a scar tissue. They moved her nipples, where they incinerated her breast tissue, moved her nipples up into a more masculine position. She can never get it back. She said she could never breastfeed a child. She can never have the family. And she stuck with it. She said, I was suicidal after it was done because they just did it to check me off and then left me. They did the body, but they didn't do the heart. They didn't fix the heart.
Yeah, or the psychology. I mean, there's a lot of psychological preparation, and before, during, and after. And I would imagine that whoever has an operation like that, it is quite a thing to deal with.
Well, that's what I want to say. Oh, go ahead, Chetty. I'll finish and I'll tell you.
I'm not finished.
I want to say this to all those that are out there going through transgender, especially if you're youth and young people. And for those that it means something to, take it. For those that it doesn't mean anything to, discard what I say. But this was written out of compassion and love for you of what was coming in the future. And they took it and twisted it. So I want you to hear my message that you matter. You're beautiful, each of you. And I was scared of what was going to happen in the future, where people might have to actually change their bodies themselves out of need and desperation to survive. That's where it comes from, and that's what was twisted from. Just so you know where the roots are. And I'm glad you were born, and I'm glad you're there, and I'm glad to celebrate your journey, whatever it is, whether you trans back or not. You're an amazing person. You're beautiful. And that's from the author of The Matrix, who holds the copyright. Don't let them take that away from us also, because this will be your property in the future. When we win this thing, you will own this work, and you can put whatever you want. You can make it a transgender thing or not. But Larry Wachowski is claiming now, years later, that this was about transgender. Why didn't you say that in the beginning? It wasn't. It's part of an agenda now. But originally, it's a gift to you to celebrate life, all your steps, all your choices. But I would say this: make sure that each of your choices from your heart, that you are sovereign with your body, with your soul, with who you are. You know what's best. Don't let someone talk you into it, regardless of what side they're on. You choose what you want to do in a quiet space with peace and the feeling of your heart. Don't let anyone talk you into anything. Don't regret later that someone made you do something by trying to convince you or make it sound sweet or good or clinically approached you and made you feel like there was something wrong with you, or they knew how to fix it. You'll know how to fix all your problems step by step, and you'll be grateful later that it was your choice, not theirs. Keep your sovereignty. Keep who you are. Keep it intact. Guard it. That's your gift. And that's your gift to all of us, who you are, not who they want you to be. So sorry about being all choked up, but these kids matter. And I'm sick that they took my work and are blaming me now and saying, I don't care if they blame me, but they took my work and turned it into an agenda. That's not what it's supposed to be. I look forward to the original film being made and people could see what it was intended to be. I think that'll help in the movement. But I'm really choked up today because this issue is so hard on my heart that they took it and used it against the kids. So,
yeah. Well, Tom, I think we all appreciate you for your beautiful heart and for caring. That's for sure. I'm just looking at the comments in the chat box here.
It's a sign of our times, Shanti. If I'm emotional on all these shows, it's because I think we should reflect our times. And right now, this is the face of our times. It should be. This is how we should be feeling right now, because this is how our world is right now, and our kids are suffering. So thanks for having me on again. I look forward to being on with you. And being with your
absolutely.
audience.
Always a pleasure to have you on, most definitely. And slowly but surely, we will climb this mountain.
Yes, we will.
Together, all of us. You know,
and
we were just again.
What you said. I want to just throw what you said. You remind me over and over to have the right energy, to have the right frame. And you're right. We cannot get sucked down the system of the horror and be immersed in the web of horror ourselves. We have to be freed from the webs of horror in order to free the kids. And so you're right. We need to have the right frame of mind and the right spirit and have that intact. Otherwise, we fall into the other side slide. And so I'm going to keep that.
In layman's terms, we fucked. If we don't have that, we fagala apada. Okay?
We don't beware of sovereignty. Right. The sovereignty of our happiness and who we are. So we will all succeed and laugh together and celebrate together as we all find safety and help us each other up the hill of life. When humanity realizes that each person does matter, each person matters, each child, each elderly person, everybody, we can only do it together. In the future, we will be appalled if we lose any of us, because that's the compassion I believe in the future, and that's what I was writing about. In the future, we will evolve and develop into such a compassion that we won't be able to conceptualize the loss of any of us. Then watch how mental illness is solved, because everybody will know they matter and they are loved. That's not a pipe dream. It's going to happen. We're evolving to that. That's our name.
And it's, I want to just say, what you were saying about getting our energy right and stuff like that. Everyone who watches this channel regularly will know that that is something I say probably 100 times a day. We can't do this if we're not connected. We can't do this if we're not spiritually connected to our divine source and sovereign in the way and who we are. And, Tom and I, we're planning, you and I are going to be working on stuff together. So watch the space, guys. And really just finding the way out of the matrix. And it's all energy related. It's all energy related, right? We must remember life is spiritual. Before we came into our bodies, we were spirit. Spirit becomes body. And when we leave our bodies or when we croak, we go back into spirit. So what we're experiencing here is not, we must always remember, we are not human beings trying to be spiritual. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Now, if we can let that sink in, it's very profound. because then we can look at life differently. And that's when we start getting our energy right. You see, what these guys have done is literally they've taken the hive mentality as it's meant to be, and they've turned it upside down. And that's how they've created this horrible matrix. And we're going to go into that because we can understand energetically what's been done. We then consciously understand how to flip it. And once we flipped it, then Tom can teach your kids, your grandkids, you, everything, because now the road is open. We've reclaimed our space. We have to reclaim our space first. You are your space. You are your individual space. You have to reclaim yourself first and stand strong in who you are. And then we connect with those around us. And then we are a formidable force. We cannot not be formidable then. And then we reteach our children. We reteach our old people. We remind. It's not reteach, remind. And then it comes like this, boom, 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 boom. But we have to get to that place where we're all prepared to do the work. And it's not an easy time. And I'm not talking about being a keyboard champion. It's about actually getting up, activating stuff, and doing it. Yeah.
Well, you made me think of something so important, Shanti, real quick, is that many producers and insiders at Hollywood have been telling me that they're still following the ways that, that they came up with in this original screenplay. They're still trying to take from and utilize, and the concepts of introducing credits later in the film. And what's interesting is they also, paparazzi even have said, Tom, I knew Hollywood is forming and dangerous people in Hollywood are with you. I've said this before, so what's interesting is they see me as a top in the industry as far as inside the industry, not known to the public. And that's what they keep saying, come home in that aspect. But what was happening is through your classes and things you're going to be doing, you're actually going to help foster the beginnings of a different entity than Hollywood, where people will learn how to write. They want me to come in and be a script doctor and teach them how to write. We can teach people how to create and free up in the layers and layered thinking that they can't do and been asking me to come home and do in Hollywood. So we can actually create a different entity. We'll start a new industry where people will learn to create and have their stories come out. That's going to be beautiful. You also made me think one more thing that I often wondered, do we have a choice before we are born, as in spirit with God and such, to choose when we come? And what's interesting is the thought came, possibly, if it's so, I don't know, but if it's so, wouldn't it make sense that many of us would say, put me in the game where it's most needed. Put me in the most important time in history. And then, therefore, on that thinking, would it not be that the roster that appears now are those of that heart and ilk that have come in? So we are meeting the best people in history now.
Exactly.
To make a difference in our world. And what a joy to be on the field at this time with these issues being revealed and equipped to do it. I think we're the A team, all of us listening in such are the A team at the right time to make a difference in our world. And that makes me very happy.
Tom, I could not have, you said it so succinctly. And to be perfectly honest, I can't even quote you because your words really just hit home. And it's exactly that, guys. What we are doing is we're reclaiming what is naturally ours. And it's what you were saying as well. It's AI. I've always been saying for a long time, spiritual intelligence will always dissolve artificial intelligence. Right now, we have been inundated with artificial intelligence by these crazy, creepy creatures using Meta and AI and all sorts of their crazy technologies on us subtly and not so subtly sometimes. But when we understand what they're doing, we then empower ourselves. You see, the minute we wake up from the sleep, we go ching, eyes open. Oh my gosh, I need to get up. I can't be pressing that snooze button anymore. That's the moment we take responsibility. Then we start saying, okay, let me clean up the mess around here. That's the first thing of reclaiming the power. We've all allowed this to happen, consciously or unconsciously. And as you say, all of us have agreed to be here at this time. We are all this A team, all bringing our expertise together. I mean, and that is one thing. I mean, you and I have had recent conversations off air, which guys, we're going to put it into stuff for you. That's all. We can't talk about it, but it's preparing the way to reclaim our power back, reclaim our spirit. And every step you take towards reclaiming your power, taking back your power, they lose footing. And I say they because their energy is not authentic. It's false. Right. It's artificial. It's fake. It's artificial intelligence. It's not spiritual intelligence. Spiritual intelligence melts that away like that guy put that ring in Lord of the Rings at the end, in that big fiery thing. That's what AI becomes like when you have the true fire of God within you. And that will melt anything away. And then you reclaim your genius, like Tom is offering this world. Tom is a creative genius. I'm not going to lie. You guys all know it. I've had the privilege of getting to know him. I wouldn't say well, but pretty well over the years. I'd love to meet you in person at some point, but that's what I'm saying. So Tom is a creative genius, and I know that Tom's heart is to share his gift with the world, like it is my heart to share my knowledge with the world. And I know it's very abstract what I do. Many people have no idea what I do. I sometimes don't even know what I do. It just happens, and then I'm going, oh God, that's a drrr, and I write and it comes, and I'm going, yeah, that's exactly what it has to happen. God gives it to me in downloads. I integrate it and create something tangible from it for us to understand. That's my job.
Yeah, you just made me think of something too. I want to share with you that may be a bomb drop, but I was told from the inside that Elon Musk was modeled after me to take the work and to play me. And what's interesting is he's taken it from the world and pretending to be a hero. But Neuralink and everything else, all these inventions that are in the original work that came down, like Michael Jackson says, comes down, it comes down to you.
It does come down.
That's intended to all of us. And you have to have the original sources to do that. And so I look forward to teaching others about what is truly the inventions Elon Musk is claiming, and how you get those and how you open the doors to that. I look forward to teaching people about that, because Elon Musk is not the real deal. He was groomed by Warner Brothers in 1999 when Matrix came out. This is the 1998 version, is when Elon Musk was introduced on the scene by Warner Brothers. Get this. The Wachowskis were introduced to take the work. So they took the story. Wachowskis took the images and story. At the same time in 1999, when the Wachowskis are given the story to take, Elon Musk is given the tech to take. You see what they did? So the tech in here was given to Elon Musk in 1999. The story was given to the Wachowskis in 1999. The Wachowskis, Warner Bros. And Disney did it at the same time, and I do mean Warner Bros. And Disney did at the same time with the agency's blessings. It's time to reclaim our world back. And boy, do I have 16 other screenplays to show you all and how to do it. I'm looking forward to teaching people how to free up, and it involves compassion and having your mind with no negative inputs at all floating around. Yeah. That Disney doesn't even understand that. In conversation with Disney on the phone, which I recorded, Disney attorneys are saying they don't get that. They think it's all about power. So I've been instructing Disney and Warner Brothers, one of the few that have been instructing them, and Hollywood moguls also. What they need to do is have compassion. So there's been tug of war on that. But they're empty. When you talk to them, they're empty. They believe it's all about power, and they end up, it's almost like a scientist looking at a petri dish, thinking they have power over this petri dish, and the petri dish starts teaching them. That's from their mindset that it's a petri dish. See, suddenly they're taking lessons from the petri dish, and they're in a different role then. And that's what's happening right now in their mindset, is they're looking at Tom Althouse and others like me and going, wow, we can learn from you. Wow. Now we got to change their agenda, have them change their agendas. They have to choose to change. A person does best when they choose to change. It's their decision. From transgender to anything, you let them make that choice. These powerful moguls, even the agencies, I've talked to the agency, FBI, the rest of them, saying, do the right thing. Make the choice. It's all about power. No, it's not. You're going to be against each other all your time. You'll be working, and there'll be conflict within your own organization until you do the right thing and have compassion for each other and those you're supposed to serve, not handle and control. So those are messages I'm giving. Being groomed for the inside, I'm trying to teach the inside to do the right thing. And I want to give the gifts to the people on the outside. And I thank you for this opportunity to do that. So Matrix is yours. The story is yours. And the tech is also yours, not Elon Musk's. Elon Musk is nothing without the tech. It's like the Grinch who stole Christmas. His bag of toys on his back with his dog Max is not his. He took it from the little guys that are still singing the Christmas carols. So now we're going to return the bag of toys.
His dog Max, don't forget that.
Yeah, the one saving grace he has.
Funny.
So,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
we hold the tech. The tech's right here, copyrighted. So Neuralink and everything else is ours. All who join us, it's ours. And we can actually burn that particular tech because that tech was written to propel the story. It wasn't meant for humanity to actually make. It's not a good thing. Neuralink should not ever be made. Right?
Really.
It's like that blue stuff in The Expanse on Amazon. You don't want it floating around, the protomolecule. You don't want it. We don't want the Neuralink. I created it. It was given to me to create. I don't want it born. It'll only harm you. It was just for the story's purpose. So Elon Musk, give it back so I can lay it in its grave. But thank you for having me again.
I'm wondering, you know, and just to end that off, I mean, wouldn't Elon then be one of their puppets? So it would not really be Elon that's running that show then in terms of the Neuralink and SpaceX and all of that. But we do know
he's
there's
getting the rewards. He's getting rewards for being the face of it. Remember, I was supposed to be the face
for
of
being the
Crystal?
puppet. Yeah,
Face of the
yeah,
tech
with
tape.
you.
So yeah, he's getting the rewards and having the high life by being the boyish look like I was. And
Yeah.
there's a point that I just glanced at the chat and they said about to switch the pill colors, and they're absolutely right, Jan. The blue pill was actually the good pill in the beginning. That's important. The red pill in the original work, the 98 version used on 99, they switched it to be a joke on the public. The red pill's based on the blood of the children to make an immortal program, the longevity and stuff. And the blue pill was the underground's bootleg pill that had painful side effects. So they reversed it. Blue was the blue author's eye, where you see what the author sees through the original work. And isn't it something, when they stole the work and re-rendered it, making it upset, they made the red the good one. Red, ask any child, blue is good, red is bad. Red means stop, red means danger, red, of course, in China's celebration. But the thing is that the red pill was based on the blood of the children, and now everybody says a red pill, basically. So now the other side's afraid of us going, I'm blue pilled, not Viagra. I'm blue pilled. The blue was good. The red was bad. Even Sophia Stewart on her website said just recently, because she was instructed to, the red is good, the blue is bad. No, the original version, the blue is good, the red is bad. They reversed it to have control of the project, the intellectual property, and also the influence on people. Now everybody says the red pilled. So everybody's saying, basically, most people are saying they take the red blood of the children. So it's time for us to say, at least say, I'm not red pilled. And that'll be a plus for the movement I'm trying to see happen together with us to educate the world. Thank you. Thanks for bringing it up.
And we don't have to go running anymore if a guy says, I'm blue pilled. You actually want to go running towards him, not away from him, right?
Yeah. And there's a question about the address, too. Very good. I'm going to put my address out since they asked. I'll just say it right now. I have nothing to hide. The agencies know exactly where I am. So they've sent SWAT and everything else before. So no hiding. Might as well let the public know, the ones that are good. So the address is 10855, and that's Eagle Drive, 10855 Eagle Drive, apartment 425, and that's in Baytown, Texas, 77523. I think I said that right, unless I reverse numbers sometimes. Let me just double check real quick. Hold on. 77523. Actually, didn't reverse it. Okay, good. So 77523. So thank you for that question. And no, I have nowhere. I'm not going to hide anything. In fact, on my phone, it typed out my apartment address backwards with 666. It went 524-666 on my mom's phone, which was supposed to be a message. So they play with their toys. But the people that are typing those messages from AT&T and such, and Warner Brothers owns AT&T, they're very small. They're very weak. I want us to realize, put a light under the bed and in the closet, on the monsters under the bed and on the closet. They are nothing. They are nobodies. Everybody matters, but they have some growing up to do. So really, in the agencies, spoiled people that really aren't that scary when it comes down to it. They have the weapons, they have the bells, the whistles, and the toys, but they are very disturbed people. trying to claim the rest of us are disturbed. So they're going after geniuses and people like yourself that have a heart, and they don't want people knowing because they don't want to lose their influence, their power, their position. And that's where the transgender movement comes in also. So thank you for this. Thank you so much. I love your heart. I love your spirit. And I love this, the audience being so sweet. And thank you for posting that, Layla, too. So yeah, I like
I always joke about having a crush on Elon. Everyone on this channel knows that because
he's a person put in a role. He's in a role. So you're in love with an actor. But that's fine. I've had people do that.
Elon is a South African, so especially when we have our conversations with Jesse, I'll go like, "Okay, Elon, you all now got a big crush on Elon, yeah?" And yeah, he's a South African, so of course I'm fine that he's a good guy.
If he comes clean, then you can be with him. Well, he knows he's stealing the material. He knows that Warner Brothers gave him the material to steal and the text. So I'll tell you, he knows exactly what he's doing and what the agenda is, and it's not good. It's not good. But if he comes around and actually comes clean, like I was sending Will Smith a message too, where they're trying to get Will Smith to turn around his viewpoint now when the Wachowskis approached him and he said no to the idea because there wasn't shown the script. They're trying to backtrack and have him cover it now, and that's his penance for being revealed, shamed publicly. To be back on the scene, he has to do these things to cover up the tracks. So I sent Will Smith a message showing one of the clips and all the entries and saying, "Step it up, step up and be a man." I told Will Smith. So same thing to Elon Musk: step up and be a man. Don't be an image. Don't try to have people fall for you because the way you act and look and are scripted to. Be a real guy. Be a real guy and a real example. Be a genuine, follow the heart and be a real genuine guy. Don't just steal tech. And he knows he's stealing. So that's what I'm saying. But anyway, yeah.
I think the entire system is stealing, everything. We've been stolen, actually.
Well, there's those of us that, are rising up and we are going to, first we set our hearts right. We focus on doing it right. We do not allow anything to enter in negative. And we will be unpurchasable. We don't have a price, and that upsets the apple cart. That turns the whole system over the elite. If we don't have a price, then you're labeled difficult. I have been labeled difficult by the agencies and Pat Robertson's group, and everybody else. So that's good. Meanwhile, like I said, the other people are fans of the work out there. The different people and heads of agencies and things are fans of the work. So I'm in a position of responsibility, help wearing a mantle, where I need to do this right. I cannot slip up. I need to do everything just right. So pressure, but I have to show, along with others that are in this time, chose to be in this time apparently, that we don't have a price. We can't be bought, and we are not going to do things wrong. We're going to try to stand for the people, stand for the kids, stand for the elderly, and the task. Hold me to the task. Call me out. So yeah.
As Layla says, we're priceless.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And I am nothing. I am nothing without you, without the listeners. I am nothing. Nothing. Humanity needs each other. Elon Musk is nothing, even more so without us. But the thing is that, yeah. And we've got to be aware of, they're trying to make it a popularity contest. The grooming, the publicity, all that stuff. We got to
competitive, very competitive. Make it a very competitive industry.
We don't need that. We need to just keep having the arms open and be genuine. It's more important to be genuine. When that comes into fashion, genuine, then that's going to be great. I actually have a line of clothing I'm designing that when we get our word out, that men can be back with some more flair. And why that fashion changed, right? Do you know why fashion changed to so drab for men? Did I tell you that? Why fashion changed? Because of the French Revolution. In the French Revolution, pre-French Revolution, men were dressed very flamboyant, very colorful. Lace. Men wore lace before women. It was masculine. And then in the French Revolution, it became fashionable to show that you're not aristocratic. So everybody started wearing plain and ragged. And it stuck. And even now, today's fashion is based on that. Yet, men are still trying to stand out with a French post-revolution look. It's stupid. If the look is to make you not look like you're aristocratic, why are you trying to look the fanciest non-aristocratic you can? You're in a dichotomy. So it's time to bring back the real issue and be genuine. Like, let's go ahead and add color back and fashion back to what it used to be, where men can shine and women can shine and we can have fun doing it together. So,
Indeed.
and in ending with that, from my standpoint, let you finish, is the health department, U.S. Health Department, and others that were on that board. We can define a man and a woman for you if you have trouble doing that, if you're too afraid to say it. We can help you. It's pretty basic. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And on that note, I think we shall bid you all farewell. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your evening, rest of your day. I shall see you guys on tomorrow again at 3 p.m. Central African time, cat time with Jesse. And that'll be the last time I'm on this week. I'm taking a little road trip on Thursday. So I will see you guys back early next week again. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.
I do not comply. I'm just going to say what she said. I do not comply. I'm going to honor that. I love that. So not with you. I'm saying with what they're doing, the elite. Thank you, Chantelle, for having me on. I do comply with, I do join you in everything we're doing here. And I'm very excited about the future. So thank you.
Indeed. Thank you, Tom. Take care, everybody.
I stayed on.
Wait. I've still got the broadcast on.